It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Yeah, you know the Vikes are playing the Pack, don't you know?
Oh, yeah, we're going to kick some Green Bay butt, you know.
Cheeseheads. We'll beat them.
Cheeseheads.
Yeah, right. Cheeseheads. Beating on the cheese.
Heads.
Beating on the cheese. We are all rejoicing. We're beating on the cheese.
Heads.
Go and tailgate. The Vikings are great.
They're great.
Hey, Wisconsin, you're the ones we love to hate.
Grr.
Beating on the cheese.
Heads.
Beating on the cheese.
Heads.
We are all rejoicing. We're beating on the cheese.
Heads. Rest 2, 3, 4.
So hey, go do your chores and go and make some s'mores.
Hershey
Look,
bar.
another Viking scores.
Yeah.
You're such cheeseheads. We had Tarkenton.
Uh-huh.
He was really good.
Great.
The Pack got beat again, and now you're in a bad mood. Vikings D will crush. You can't stop the rush.
No.
Vikes dominating force. Packers lose.
Of course.
Beating on the cheese. On the cheese. Beating on the cheese. We are all rejoicing. We're beating on the cheese. Oh, hey.
Oh, hey.
Nice drop pass.
Oh, yeah, you dropped another one.
Oh, penalty.
There's a shot. Yeah.
Nice modern logo.
Let's
Jesus.
do it. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, September 30th. No sense waiting. Here's your top 5 at 6. For the top 5 at 6, the number is really 4, as in 4-0. And yeah, we were beaten on the Cheeseheads yesterday. And yes, the Packers came back and made the score interesting, but one less fumbled punt, and the score looks a lot more like how it felt, which was an absolute ass-kicking.
Yeah, for a while. I mean, you make a good point. One less fumbled punt, but there were lots of stupid mistakes along the way. It's a win. It's 4-0. We'll take it, but it's not pretty.
The way that this game started and the avalanche that happened out there in the first half, do not forget what that feeling's like, because it's happened a few times now, right? That is our formula, but then comes our ability to finish football games, like we're going to do at a world-class level.
Late in the game, as Green Bay was closing in, it seemed like the pressure was on. The Vikings had that one long drive that led to the field goal. And I love the fact that O'Connell didn't get conservative and just start handing the ball off. He let Sam throw the ball. He was like, no, man, keep cooking.
Yeah.
And that was huge. And that tells you everything you know about how they feel about Sam Darnold right now. And I'm sure Sam appreciated it. Aaron Jones, 93 yards, did not get to do a proper post-touchdown Lambeau leap, unfortunately. But I'm sure he's okay. The win is huge.
Yeah, it is.
4-0 on to London. Can't believe we got to go to London.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big who cares game, but, hopefully they'll grab another win out of it. You never know. You
can never beat Aaron Rodgers enough times.
No, agreed. That'd be a nice touch. But yeah, 4-0, feeling good. You beat the Pack. It's a division win, and yeah.
Number
I do
4.
like an excuse to drink beer at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, you know what? Good
Who
point.
needs an excuse? Come on.
Number 4 on your top 5 at 6. Somehow Saturday Night Live has been around for 50 years. I say that because year 6, 7, and 8, I remember thinking, they're going to pull the plug on this.
Yeah.
Got to, right? 50th season debuted Saturday. And, of course, vice presidential candidate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was a huge character on the show, played by Jim Gaffigan, who did a pretty darn good job, I got to say.
I got that BDE, Big Dad Energy. You see what I did there? You get it?
I got it. I didn't want it, but I got it.
There you go.
The discount, what was the Menards line? That's the one that was blowing up pretty big on social media as well.
I think the line was, I got a 10% discount on a leaf blower at Menards, and my Twitter feed was just littered with people saying it's actually 11%.
Oh, that's funny.
That's good stuff. So I imagine we'll be seeing plenty of Jim Gaffigan, at least until the first week of November, if not past that. Number 3 on your top 5 at 6. Over the weekend, holy smokes, the Minnesota Timberwolves sent Karl Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks. Later, Cat, appreciate that 9-year run.
Did you say to the Lynx?
To the New York Knicks,
I could
not
have
the
sworn
Lynx.
they traded him to the Lynx for all their draft picks.
We can talk about
Forever.
the pros and cons of the players we received and him playing for the Knicks. You only got to know one thing. He's about to begin the first of a 4-year, $224 million contract extension. That's a whole lot of money for a guy who, when the pressure's on, tends to not really deliver. I'm just saying, for everyone who's sad to see him go, great. I mean, that's how it works in pro sports. He said he was astonished. He never asked for a trade. He was stunned. Hey, dude, I saw you in the Western Conference Finals. This team ain't winning a title if you're our second best player.
Careful, he might still be in town, Steve.
I'm just saying. Big winner of the trade, Naz Reid. Looking forward to seeing more of him on the field, on the court, I should say. Number 2 on your top 5 and 6, Jeff Lynn's ELO is going down tonight at the XL Energy Center. I'll be there. I can't wait. I'm very, very excited. I'm just going to let you know this right now. Never seen ELO live, and if they play, Can't Get You Out of My Head, I'll probably tear up. This song meant a lot to me as a kid.
All right.
Yell it out as a request.
I used to, I'd sit there and I was in the basement with the record player on high, all the treble up, not as much bass, a little. And man, that I'd play that and I'd give a performance. I was always at the Garden or the Hollywood Bowl, holding like a toilet, a paper towel, the middle part of the paper, the roller,
the tube,
the tube looked like Gene Rayburn microphone, but I was singing that song and making people cry.
Bring your lighter.
Oh, it's gonna be going down tonight. I can't wait. That's over at the XL Energy Center. And last I checked, that's in St. Paul. But right now, I'd like to say good morning to St. Paul Park.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody listening in St. Paul Park, what's up? Anybody going to ELO? Let me know.
Yeah, fine park. It's a wonderful park.
Yeah, they got that thing that goes around in a circle, and they got that thing that goes up and down on each end. Oh, it's great.
Pick up your dog poop, please.
Come on, St. Paul Park. Let us know if you're going to go see Jeff Lynn's ELO. 651-999 Rock is the KQ Talk and Text line. Finally, number 1 on your top 5 at 6. 82-80. Not enough for the Twins. They were eliminated over the weekend. 2-8 over their last 10. The Minnesota Twins were a team that on August 17th had a 92.4% chance of making the playoffs. They are not going to be in the playoffs. This is an epic,
see ya.
An epic collapse. But one final note that we think is worthy. A fan was not only removed from Target Field, but he was banned from going back during Saturday night's game. He had a sign, holding up a sign that said, "Defend the lads."
Defund the lads.
Not defund the police. Defund the lads.
All right, here he is being harassed by the man outside. Or I think this was just inside. He started outside.
I'm not doing anything wrong. People protest. What am I doing? This is not your property. Take video. No, stop. Shut the f*** up.
Yeah. Things got heated, got banned for a year. Good for you. I forget his name. Something Bailey. Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was following his Twitter thread. He's got a lot of support on there. And, I mean, I had a buddy, Nate, that described it to me over the weekend. He said, the Twins are like Valley Fair. It's an attraction. You go there for the stadium. It's beautiful. They've got hot dogs and beer that cost a lot of money. And you don't go there to watch competitive baseball. Sure, you get it occasionally. They make the playoffs and then, wash out right away. But it's, you're not going there expecting a win. Kind of like the Minnesota Wild this year. Last year, under the cap with $15 million hanging over their head. And
oh, boy.
I think it's going to be one of those years, but you go for the snow cones.
It's a good time,
don't you? It's a good time.
Mention the Vikings are 4-0?
4-0 with the Vikes, baby.
There's your top 5 at 6. Hey, listen, if you want to get your Prince freak on, I got good news for you. If you want to, pick up a little bit of the vibe, catch a little bit of the aura, if you want to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the film Purple Rain, why don't you plan to go to the Purple Rain house itself, which is now about to be part of the AirBNB Icon program? Looking at this house and I'm realizing, first things first, I can never stay there. It's like, I feel like it's the Tom Petty, don't come around here no more video. I'm like, or no, you know what? I'm Gulliver walking into the land of the Lilliputians. It's like, that little tiny twin bed, huge for Prince. So there's no way I'd get a good night's sleep there. There's an easy bake oven to make your meals. I mean, I know he was a little guy, but come on. No, it just looks like that motorcycle. It's from The Mouse and the Motorcycle, the little motorcycle that he rode in Purple Rain. That's how big it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's you can get on all of that stuff.
So what house was this? And it's been a while since I've seen the movie.
From the film. It's just where where
is that where his dad beat him up?
Most likely.
In the movie, yeah.
Sure.
Right.
There are throughout the house. There are QR codes along with notes from Wendy and Lisa from the Revolution.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they left a little
hosts.
Prince's DNA behind. Huh?
They say
black light.
It's probably a crumpled up camisole somewhere.
You know there is. You hit those QR codes. There's Prince memories, insights, commentaries, and Wendy and Lisa are on hand a good bit. So you might even see them in the house.
Well, that's not exploitive of Prince at all.
No, it's not.
I mean, no, they're doing their own thing. Using Prince's name.
But check this out. The house goes live October 3rd.
All right.
It's available for 25 total one-night stays with a max of 4 people per stay. Price, $7 per person. That's it. $7 a head. That's Prince's favorite number.
Well, this place is going to last exactly for one visit. $7, that's riffraff. Can afford that.
That's exactly
get in
right.
there and bust that place up.
It's going to be problematic. There's also, by the way, I said it's the Airbnb Icons collection. There's they have a series of famous reality-based or more like fictionally-based homes.
Yeah.
Like the home from the movie Up, Disney's Up. There is a place in, I believe, New Mexico where you can go stay. It's a custom-built replica of the home from the movie Up. Every detail of the animated yellow home precisely recreated. The entire home itself actually floats.
No kidding.
Yes. With more than 8,000 colorful balloons and a hefty crane, the real-life version flies above the rocks of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm not sure how you say that.
All right.
Go figure.
For $7, I'll walk you down the alley behind the Uptown, where the Uptown bar used to be, where a rider puked.
That's a bargain.
I'll show you the spot. Still, the stain is still right there on the asphalt.
Man,
what were you drinking?
I think it was pints of premium and Irish car bombs.
Oh,
were my go-to.
I mean, you think.
Wow. Well, somewhere in the midst now, there's a plan where we should go Irish car bomb the Prince Purple Rain house. Let's go. Let's combine this great story with let's make new great stories at the Prince Airbnb. I got $7.
All right.
A little over $7, but a bargain to be sure. Why don't you join us? KQ Up North, Hoffman Weber Construction. Our good friends are going to be up there with us this weekend, Thursday through Sunday at Cragen's Resort on Gull Lake. Last-minute passes are still available. Yeah. You're going to want to be a part of KQ Up North. Go to 92kqrs.com. Pick up some last-minute passes. Sponsored by Hoffman Weber Construction and, of course, Cragen's on Gull Lake. Looking very forward to hanging out. We'll be up there Thursday evening. A little karaoke action happening.
Getting my haircut today. Going to be a big deal. Oh, yeah.
Friday morning, going with the live broadcast, and then good stuff throughout the weekend. So get on board, why don't you? But before we look forward to that, we do have to look back. Sir Edmund Hillary, first guy along with his Sherpa to climb Mount Everest. I just have a quote from him. He said on this day back in the day, nobody climbs mountains for scientific reasons. Science is used to raise money for the expeditions, but you really just climb for the hell of it. Let's just remember that as we move forward. If you're a Twins fan and you are just in dire straits right now and feeling bad, it's okay, because on this day in 2007, the New York Mets made history with the worst September collapse in literal baseball history. 17 games to go. The Mets led the NL East by 7 games.
Oh, that's a nice cushion.
They finished the season 5-12, and the Phillies surpassed them on this day by losing 8-1. They did not make the postseason. Again, 17 games to go. They had a 7-game lead and did not even make the playoffs.
Rested a little early.
So really, Twins fans, it could be worse. I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help. That's all I can do.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zeb, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
It is the final day of September for all of us, but a special shout out to those in the neighborhood of Minneapolis known as Uptown. Good morning, Uptown.
Uptown. Oh, they're not up yet.
No, of course they're not.
A bunch
Uptown
of slackers.
girls. Come on, Uptown.
So
Uptown.
Taylor was born when we were living in Uptown.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got her start in Uptown. A couple of different places. We got kicked around. That's when I was doing my apartment building manager job. I was the Schneider,
Yeah, sure.
Walking around with my hair dryer and my holster.
I like that.
Did you have a big stash?
I did, but not on my face.
Yeah, I think it's just
what I'm talking about.
It's just a fuse out, Miss Romano. That's my Schneider. Man, I had a big problem with One Day at a Time when I was a kid. I just didn't like the show. Something about the Mrs. Romano, Bonnie Franklin's character, bothered me as a kid. Maybe it was her rampant feminism, and I was just too young to get it.
Yeah.
And I was talking about one day how annoyed she made me, and my mom said, I don't know, is there something like her hair or a redhead haircut?
Bangs.
Like the haircut.
It was the whole thing. My mom had the exact haircut and the exact same color hair. And she looked at me, she goes, honey. And I was like, I probably need to get a therapist? What's going on here? Lovely woman, Imelda. I mean, I love her to death, but apparently there was something going on there. Who knows? But anyway, I love the thought of you as Schneider. Maybe that's a Halloween get-up you could get into.
All right, I'll think about it. I've got the gut for it now.
Rock on Uptown. We get up early around here to bring you the KQ Morning Show, and we do talk a lot about sleep. I mean, not so much on mic. Sometimes we do, but more often, like one of the first things, hey, how'd you do? How'd you sleep? How'd you sleep? Now there's a new trend, sleepmaxxing. Sleepmaxxing. It's all over TikTok, which means I haven't seen it yet until today. A lot of people obsessing over how to get the perfect night's sleep. And there's one guy, at least on TikTok, who says he's got the perfect technique for you to get your perfect night's sleep. Let's listen to a little bit of how he gets the perfect sleep.
To ensure that I get high-quality, deep sleep. Number one, I take a high-quality magnesium-based sleep supplement, which is absolutely amazing for reducing stress and anxiety, allowing you to sleep better. Number two is mouth tape. I tape my mouth shut every night because it forces nasal breathing, which is not only going to improve your quality of sleep, but it's also amazing for your lung health and facial structure. Number three is nose strips, which helps with my nasal breathing. And lastly, number four, I wear blue light blocking glasses. These are going to minimize the effects of the blue light exposure I get from screens, and I put these on about 1 to 2 hours before I go to sleep.
What a freak! If that guy was my roommate, you know what I'd do? I'd do him a favor. I'd go up and go, hey, you going to bed in a couple hours? He'd say, yeah, I'd just punch him right in the jaw. Just knock his ass out. There you go. Get some sleep, dude.
Here's a pillow.
That would damage his facial structure.
Oh, my God.
Mouth taping, nasal strips, and glasses that he wears. He puts them on 2 hours before going to bed.
This guy wants a girlfriend that will beat him up so bad. Put a dog collar on him, tell him what to do. I'm old school. 2 old fashions and a full meal and leftovers at 9 o'clock every night. Gets the job done.
That's exactly right.
Goes to sleep in a disguise.
Yeah, right.
I am the king of, I notice I do sleep great on an empty stomach. So I'll get an early dinner, 5:30, and then it's like 8:39. I'm like, it's great, perfect time for bed. I guess I'll go get half a sandwich. It's like, no, what are you doing? I'm not even hungry. It's like just a half a sandwich.
Yeah, no, I did it last night. I was like, all right, no, I had a good meal, watched a little football, ready for bed, went in, laid down, laid there for about a 10 count and literally yelled, God damn it! Threw the covers back, went straight to the refrigerator and got 2 chocolate chip cookies.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
It's important. You have to do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If I taped my mouth shut, just the first step, tape your mouth shut. First of all, it's not great for my lung strength. It's not great for my facial bone structure. What the hell are you talking about? If you tape my mouth shut, I'm going to break a jaw in a panic mode trying to get my mouth open from the duct tape you're wrapping around my head.
No kidding, man. As I said, this guy's got some kinky things going on deep down inside.
There are sleep experts, however, who are now weighing in and going, no, if you're obsessed with getting sleep, that's a perfect way for it to induce anxiety. It's going to backfire. You'll get a worse night's sleep. We've all had that happen a million times. The worst night's sleep you ever have is when you're like, I got to get some sleep today.
Yeah.
No, just try to relax. Just, I will say there's no such thing as too much sleep. I've learned that, man. Good Lord.
I love it.
When I do get down early, like there's nights, some nights it's 7, and I'm like, I think the Sleepy Town Express is pulling into the station right now. Better jump in now while the cycle's still hot. If I go down early, I'm out for the night, man. The earlier I go to sleep, the longer I sleep, and it's just hard for me to accept that. I fight it because I'm a child, but boy, if I'm down early, I'm out for good. I'm getting that 7 to 8 hours. For
I still
sure.
do that on the weekends. I'm like, it's Friday night. I'm not going to bed at 8 o'clock. I'm going to stay up. It's Friday night, and I'll just will myself to stay awake a little bit longer. It's not quality time, not spending it with family and friends or getting something productive done or watching some fantastic movie or partying all night long. I'm just literally sitting there miserable, willing myself to stay awake.
That's it.
Till at least 10 o'clock.
How old were you guys when you stopped wearing pajamas? Or do you still? Does anyone still, as an adult, wear
sweats.
pajamas?
I wear sweats. I wear sweatpants.
I have a robe that I will certainly rock when at times. Just a robe, no pajamas, just the big terry cloth robe.
Yeah.
But no, I'm like a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. I don't wear pajamas. But I rocked with the Gormans. All wore pajamas as a kid.
Oh yeah.
If you see our Christmas photos, my parents both in pajamas and bathrobes, 8 kids in full pajamas sitting around the Christmas tree. All the photos.
Yeah.
Cute.
We were PJ'd out, man.
Yeah, I think I shared mine with you, and you said strong PJ game.
Yeah.
Mine was with Mom and our robes and our PJs, top and bottom, the whole thing. Probably had matching slippers. Yeah, it was a very good look. But as soon as Mom stopped buying PJs, then it was just sweats. And, I went through that whole 20s thing where you just want to be naked as much as possible. So, I was...
Sure.
You just went in the buff and whatever, but... Yeah.
That's when my robe game really stepped up. It was the years of sleeping nude. It's like, well, you got to grab something, and it's just easy to throw the robe on, open the door, let the dog out. Yeah, that's what works for me. What's the weirdest place you ever woke up? As in, didn't mean to go to sleep here, but then you wake up. I mean, I'm sure everybody's got a few of those. And in fact, I would love to hear weirdest spot you ever woke up. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. I on a handful of occasions, I'd say less than 5, but most importantly, my first night ever in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Woke up in my hotel in the hallway outside my room.
Attaboy.
Oh yeah. First time in the Twin Cities. We played.
Welcome to Minnesota.
We played First Avenue, spring of '90, opening for a band called Junkyard. After the gig, a big midnight bowling party at a bowling alley. Our T-shirt company, they were called Nice Man Merchandising, based here. They all came down. Not only did they take us out for a midnight bowling party, they had swag like the Black Crowes guys with bowling pins and balls, like special T-shirts and sweatshirts for the night. I still have my sweatshirt. Well, my son has that sweatshirt.
Yeah.
And then so we're out till 3 or 4 at least. And then I just remember having a great night at a bowling alley. And then I remember waking up on one side going like, and I'm in the hotel and I'm right outside my hotel room.
Almost made
in the hallway. And it's the kind of hotel where nobody thought to wake me up. If you're wondering how well we were living on that first tour opening for a band called Junkyard.
You were probably just the last one to wake up in the hallway.
I probably was. But I remember like, oh my God. And then sitting there going, of course I don't have a key. And then it's like, well, do I knock on the door and clearly wake up one of my drunk, passed out bandmates? Yeah, I do. Come on. And then, we have 3 guys in a room, 3 guys for 2 beds. And so I just went from one floor to another
floor,
but at least I was behind the comfort of a locked door for the first time, of the night. So that's how I rolled at my first night in Minneapolis. I should probably try to top that off. I should probably, bookend it one of these days.
Up in Craigan's.
All right, Craigan's. Let's see how many what are we? 3 nights, 3 different hallways I want to sleep in.
All right,
there's the quest. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. Tony, who's on the horn?
Our buddy Steve woke up somewhere odd.
Steve, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Steve, give me your favorite band.
Beatles.
That's a good answer, sir. Favorite team, any sport?
Football.
Oh, I like it.
Vikings.
Vikings, right on. All right, Steve, where'd you wake up?
Inside my tank.
I'm sorry?
When I was on bivouac, I fell asleep inside my tank.
No, inside your tank?
Inside of a tank.
I thought you guys just lived in there, man. I was attached to an armored unit for a short time, and yeah, I thought you guys just lived in that damn thing.
Yeah.
How long do you think you were sleeping in there?
Oh, probably overnight.
Yeah, probably so. Good thing you didn't, I don't know, fire off a few rounds in your sleep.
Yeah, did your tank have a name? Did you nickname your tank?
Yep.
What was it?
It was a Sheridan tank.
Oh, Sheridan tank. That's a good one. I was in an APC and we followed a tank around for a while. It was called Gang Bang.
Oh, okay.
That was a good name.
I was assuming just Hank. You just go Hank the Tank. But
That's
Shank,
a good one.
Frank any
the
of those.
tank.
Frank the tank. All right, Steve, thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate it. On the KQ Talk text line, Joe said, completely wasted when I was 23. Fell asleep in a chair at a bar. My buddy's birthday party at the Gay 90s.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
You were not the only person to fall asleep there. Trust me on that one.
The Gay 90s isn't the kind of place where it's not like it's a quiet little dive bar where the CC Club, you can doze off there and in one of the booths, they'll leave you alone. I do remember falling asleep. I did an appearance back in my irresponsible days a long time ago. I remember the shot of the night was the Shocker, and it tasted like juice, fruity juice. And everybody wanted to buy a Zeppa Shocker. And these were back in the days where you had to call a cab. It wasn't ride sharing your phones and all that good. I was like, go be a cab. And I walked outside to wait for my cab so I wouldn't do any more Shockers. And there was a creek nearby, and that's where I woke up, next to the creek.
Oh.
On the other side of the parking lot.
Sure.
As the sun was coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun morning.
I like the sound of flowing water when I'm drunk. I'm going to lay down right next to the water.
Well, thank God I didn't fall asleep in the creek.
Kidding.
I have a bad habit of falling asleep outside. I've done a couple of yards, too.
651-989-ROCK. Where's the craziest, weirdest place you ever woke up? Let's hear from you. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Leonard Skinner, Sweet Home, Alabama. I have woken up in Alabama at a motel poolside on the pool furniture. You know, like the chairs.
Sure.
You can fold the
siesta,
thing, lay the thing back like a sunning. You know, the what do you call that? Not the chair, but the longer thing.
The chaise lounge.
You lay the back down all the way. You adjust it right there on that plastic lattice thing, and it's just imprinted in your skin. Just drunk as a skunk, sleeping on pool furniture. Oh, by the way, wasn't a guest at the motel. We climbed the fence, got right in there in Birmingham.
Not a pool.
Yeah, there was a series of, hey, if you need to crash and you're drunk, just find a hotel with pool furniture, and it works.
Yeah?
It works. Every now and again, one time in my life, I was awakened by a guy who was like security at like a, Mike's Motor Lodge. I'm like, how do they have a security guard here? But he kicked me out. Otherwise, probably went half a dozen over the years. Like, there's always something to sit on next to the pool at a cheap motel.
They went and got themselves a security guard after people kept climbing the fence and sleeping on the pool furniture.
That's what it was.
You're no bum. You're not at a park bench. You're at a pool bench. That's a chair. That's a whole. That's a step above.
We don't mind you stretching out the plastic lattice work. We don't mind you ruining the chair. It's the vomit on the pool deck. That's what the problem really is.
That's where they drew the line.
That's where they drew the line. That same night in Birmingham, Alabama, speaking of Sweet Home Alabama, also was driving around with a girl who was faking an English accent the whole time. She kept telling me her name was Shyla, and it was the worst. I was like, wow, I knew guys did this. I've never been around a girl who pretended to be English to try to be more attractive. It was a weird one, let me tell you that.
I once woke up at a girl's apartment who did not invite me over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, didn't, but she let me in. Somehow I got into the apartment building. I knew I was supposed to be at that apartment building. I was meeting so-and-so at this, but I couldn't quite find the number, and I didn't, so I just started knocking on doors, and she said, why don't you just come in and lay down on my couch? Wasn't that nice of her? I could have been a serial killer. I said the next morning, I was like, I could have been a serial killer. She said, you weren't killing anyone last night but yourself.
Oh, my God. Unusual, weirdest places you've ever woken up is what we're looking for. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. Tony, who we got on the horn?
There's some unique sleepy time for Dave from Andover.
Dave, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Love the show.
Thank you, brother. What do you got for us?
My brother moved down to Texas in 1975. Port Arthur. We went over to New Orleans. There was a big concert for the weekend. It was the first annual Pride of Dixie with Allman Brothers, Charlie Daniels, and the Marshall Tucker Band.
Sold.
So we slept over there for the weekend. First night, we went up by Lake Pontchartrain. There was a big fountain about 6 feet off the ground, about 10 feet wide, no water in it. I climbed up, slept in that fountain the first night. Second night, I slept on a bench outside my brother's van in a parking lot down in by Canal Street down there.
Yeah, you're probably young enough you didn't even wake up with a kink in your back, did you? Yeah.
Hell no.
Rested, ready to go again. God dang, I miss those days.
Down in the French Quarter.
There you go. Oh, my gosh. That's great. Thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate the kind words. My first time in Minneapolis, right there outside my hotel room door in the hallway. I wish I could remember the name of the establishment. It was very close to First Ave. In my mind, it was just like you walk out, you cross the street, go left a little ways. But that's the mind of a guy who passed out in the hallway.
Like a brick building, like a
could have been.
What was the name of that place over there? I think it used to still over by the Tony's.
I feel like you parked under I almost see a building that was like on stilts, and you parked under the building,
like by the old bus station. Well, First Avenue was the old bus station back before my day. I mean, that goes back to the '60s or whatever, before it became Uncle Sam's and the discotheque and all that jazz. But right across the street was the new bus depot.
Okay, that's all ringing a vague bell. Yeah,
and just around the corner from that, or just down the block from that, was an old hotel, and it was like the Suter or the Sutton or what was it called?
That's probably it. Yeah,
and you'd have some alcoholics that lived there full time. But yeah, they rented rooms as well. Boy, you guys were...
And a few who just passed through. Hey, we're on our way to Denver. Understand that's a long drive. We better go ahead and just get plowed.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, sleep that one off.
I'm sure if it's the hotel I'm thinking of, there was, they probably didn't even bat an eye at someone passed out in the hallway.
Oh, no. Nobody thought... That's what I'm saying. No one thought... I mean, it was morning. Sun was up. Lights were on. No one walked by and woke me up. I woke myself up.
House cleaning's thinking there's one less room we have to clean.
Exactly right. I just miraculously hadn't peed myself. I think that was probably the win of the day. Like, I got out of Minnesota with dry blue jeans on.
But you're probably passed out in someone else's urine stain.
That's very, very, very likely. On the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. Who we got? Is this John, I believe we have. John, good morning.
Good morning.
John, what do you got for us?
Well, I got two of them for you. One day on my 19th birthday, I woke up in the mud pits at Brainerd International Raceway.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the other one was I was sleepwalking, and I got in my pickup truck, and I backed it out of the garage totally naked. And I even shut the garage door when I was backed out.
Nude. How responsible of you.
Man, no injuries, though.
Nope.
Everybody's okay. You got lucky on that one. Was that a one-off, or were you a regular sleepwalker?
Usually when I get totally exhausted, I do that.
Okay. Exhausted in quotes.
We've all been exhausted.
Suffered from exhaustion.
What's wrong with Dad? It's okay, honey. He's exhausted. Do you know how hard it is to drink 2 bottles of scotch? He's worn out. Thank you for the call, John. We appreciate it. Tony, I've not heard anything about you waking up in an unexpected spot ever. And if it hasn't happened, then by God bless you. But I just feel like surely with all of your hijinks along the way.
Hijinks, yeah. After a night of much celebration or exhaustion,
yes,
I woke up in a dog bed from a house party, and I remember I opened my eyes, an extreme close-up, gigantic Rottweiler right in front of my face, looking like, hey, man, that's my bed.
Oh, man, that's great.
Yeah, it was comfy.
Sure it was.
Yeah, that's a nice alternative, a dog bed to, the hotel floor or the crick bed.
Man, I like that. Ryder, do I even dare ask?
I mean, waking up in the front yard isn't that weird. I think the weirdest one might be when I was growing up in Lakeville. We had the split level with the sliding glass door for sneaking out of the basement. Yeah. Real nice, right?
Yeah.
One time I think I came in, my bedroom was in the basement. One time I came back in and I think just slept on the tile floor instead of crawling forward to get into my bed. Did not get busted. Woke up before Mom and Dad were checking on me in the basement.
Yeah, I came home and I had a roommate halfway in the door. He's passed out cold with the screen door open up against his leg, His front half, he made it into the front half, but couldn't, haul his rear end in there.
Yeah.
651-989 Rock. I believe we have another caller. Is it Kari? Are you with us, Kari? Kari.
Hi.
Hey, Kari.
Yep, I'm here.
What do you got for us?
Well, a neighbor of mine, he was going to stay, when he was out drinking, and thought he was going to stay at a friend's house, and the whole area, all the houses looked the same, and he ended up going into an elderly lady's house, falling asleep on the couch, and when he woke up, she woke him up in the morning, and he talked his way, and she ended up making him breakfast.
Only in Minnesota. Anywhere else you get shot. In Minnesota, you get breakfast.
Holy smokes. That's very impressive. Thanks for the call, Kari. Calling in, I sounds like from a windmill. So not sure what was going on with that one. I started by talking about a time I woke up on pool furniture in Alabama. Another night, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, college town, right? Big Alabama, and football's religion there.
Sure.
This is before we were called the Black Crows. My band was called Mr. Crow's Garden, and we were playing in Tuscaloosa. And I had friends from high school who were going to school there, and 2 girls, and they had an apartment, and they said you can crash on the floor.
Awesome.
Perfect. There's 4 of us. We're crashing on the floor. We wake up the next morning, and we're all having that. Oh man, that was crazy night. We're all like recounting just how silly it got. And our bass player at the time is a guy named Scott, great dude. And he is sitting on the couch. He's just woken up and he sits up and he's naked but wearing a bathrobe, but it's obviously a feminine bathrobe. And my friend,
They're so soft.
My friend Elizabeth goes, where'd you get that? He goes, I guess I got it. I got it out of your room. She goes, that's not mine. And the other roommate, Kathleen, goes, that's not mine. And then we had to retrace steps. And then one of their neighbors later told them, they're like, some crazed drunk guy came into our apartment and said he needed to look in our closets. He had no recollection of it at all. He went and he returned in someone's bathrobe, but was wearing nothing underneath it. And so, we left that day, and he had
clothes on.
He had an extra pair of jeans and a T-shirt, but he left behind the clothes he had started the road trip with. He never got them back. I mean, it was a couple days later they heard from their neighbor, like some guy came in and they were like, I think that was our friend's friend.
Oh.
And he was like, yeah, well, we got a pair of jeans and a belt and T-shirts and cigarettes. Like he had disrobed and put us. Those are heady times. I had a couple, not even drinking. The weirdest as a kid. Woke up once in my closet of my bedroom on a pile of shoes, but I had been placed there. My brothers picked me up. I'm a sound sleeper, and they just laid me on a mountain of all of our shoes. 3 of us sharing a room. And then, of course, I did wake up once in a rope hammock that I had been cutting the grass with a push mower.
Yeah.
I cut under the hammock and around the 2 trees that are holding the hammock.
Yeah.
And then decided I'll just lay in the hammock for a minute.
Well, it's a hammock. It's inviting you.
And immediately fell asleep. Lawnmower still on. And I woke up to the sound of my dad's yelling, which was louder than the lawnmower. Just imagine you look up and you see your son sound asleep in a hammock with the lawnmower still on right next to him. Yeah, it was, these things happened.
Yeah, they do happen, don't
Too bad it wasn't circling you as you slept.
That would have been great. 651-989 Rock is the KQ Talking text line. Who we got, Tony?
Barbara on line 1.
Barb, good morning.
Yo, good morning, y'all.
Yo, what do you got for us?
Well, I have 2, but I'll do the one. So I was up north back in the early 80s, up north camping with my sister, and we were hanging out at the old bar, and, I was picking up some dudes, and I ended up an idiot. I was leaving with 2 guys I didn't even know, driving through the woods, went to this cabin out in the middle of nowhere, and I woke up the next morning on a cold waterbed. freezing.
Oh.
And didn't know where I was, didn't know who I was with, and yeah, that was pretty scary. I was just freezing. But you've ever slept on a cold water bed? It's not very comfortable.
No, and as a father of daughters, not very safe, young lady.
I know, and if it would have been this, I just can't believe I did that. That was pretty stupid, but I was okay, and I'm still hanging in there and living life.
No sign of the fellas, huh?
What?
The fellas weren't around? The two guys?
Oh, they were there.
All right.
They had to take me back to the bar. My sister was a little worried about me.
Well, as long as somebody was. I mean, as long as someone's worried, it can only go so wrong. Barb, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Hey, you can find Steve Gorman in the KQ Morning Show podcast anywhere you get podcasts, anytime you want. Sponsored by our good friends at Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies, which, of course, reminds me at this time of day, I'm always suddenly hungry. Thank you, Devani's, for making me hungry.
Had a hot club this weekend.
Just at the night, did you? Oh man. Yeah, that's kind of hard to beat. Speaking of hunger, I am seeing what looks to be a major kitchen appliance, a toaster. I'm seeing a loaf of bread. I'm excited. We're going to play Beat the Toaster. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on Minnesota's classic rock. 92 KQRS.
The final day of the month. Let's make some toast. What do you say? It's time for Beat the Toaster, but we need a couple of callers to give the game a little bit of life. Callers 9 and 2 on the KQ Talk and Text line will be playing for tickets. Callers 9 and 2, 651-989-ROCK. Get on board right now. By the way, what are the tickets to? Well, I can tell you this. It's a show this spring at the Target Center, 5th row seats.
Oh, all right. I mean, are you just
The
teasing
actual
us,
performance will be announced later today on this very station, about 10 a.m. Chris is going to let us know who the tickets are for. It's one of those top secret cool things.
Yeah.
But it's good seats, great seats. 5th row Target Center this spring. You're going to want to be there. But go ahead and call in. Let's get a couple callers locked and loaded and ready to rock. In the meantime, feel free to call or not if you're in Savage, Minnesota. Good morning, Savage.
Savage.
What's happening down in Savage? A little history down there.
You never know if you're in Savage. Are you in
You
Prior
go
Lake?
through it
Are
real
you in
quick,
Burnsville? Are you in Shakopee? What's Savage? Where is that mystical Bermuda Triangle down there of Savage? But they've got some claim to fame.
Little claim to fame was a horse thing, right?
Dan Patch Days.
Dan Patch Days.
They have a big, billboard or a sign down there, Dan Patch Days. All I know it was harness racing where they'd have a little, I suppose it was just behind the horse, a little small carriage. It was called harness racing.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore, but I guess it was the real deal, and he was the stud of his day.
He was
back
the guy.
in the 1900s or whatever.
That's a name. You're going to be a champion if your name's Dan Patch.
Dan
it just
Patch.
sounds good. Sounds like a kind of guy who's going to get into a little buggy and have a horse drag him around a muddy infield.
I mean, I've seen those, and they have like I said, there's a picture of Dan Patch and the guy sitting there in the little chariot behind him, I'm going to call it, but you're like really close to the horse's ass.
Yeah.
I mean, your like face is right there. I don't know. Let's just get up on the horse.
Yeah, it's probably best.
Just hop on the saddle.
Yeah,
I like it up there.
Might as well. Tony, we've got a couple people ready to play. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, we got a couple fellas ready to do battle.
Oh, I'm excited. Let's plug it in. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get toasty. It's time again to beat the toaster. And here's what we're going to do. There's a toaster right here in the studio. It's lovely. We pop a slice of bread in there, then we give you a category that requires some thought, and you list and name spontaneously whatever pops into your head, as many as possible, but you only have 15 seconds to do so before the toast pops.
Oh, nice. What kind of bread are we going to toast up today, Tom?
Today we're going with a lovely sourdough from Lunds and Byerly's.
Oh, yeah.
My favorites.
Yeah. That's what I have a family member who would always say, "Oh, that'll set you free." Things like
sourdough will set you free.
Anything will set you like, "Hey, how about you want a little more coffee?" You pour it. Yeah, that'll set you free. Everything's set you free. All right, let's do it. Let's beat some toast. Who's contestant number one?
First is our buddy Pat from North St. Paul.
Pat, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show, sir. Are you a fan of toast?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just making sure. Well, you're in the right place then. Are you ready to play Beat the Toaster?
Oh, you betcha.
Let's do it.
All right, Pat, we're kind of Vikey-packy today. The Vikes eked out a win to go 4-0, and maybe you tailgated, went to Lambeau, watched in your basement, or hit a sportsy bar. I don't know, but go ahead and name some game day snacks. Go.
Chips, salsa, beer, pretzels, hot dogs, hot wings, barbecue chicken, tacos.
All right.
Chips, salsa, beer.
I mean, it's just rolling and hit the wall.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8.
I got
That's
8.
yeah.
All right, Pat. Strong start, my man. Especially on a Monday morning. The week is up and running for Pat. Good job, brother. Hold on tight. We're going to go to we're going to go to contestant number 2. Who we got, Tony?
You remember the movie Fist with Stallone?
Yeah.
He said, "You wanted 8? I got you 8."
That's right. Wow.
8.
Oh, man.
I don't know. It just popped in my head.
I appreciate that. Thanks
like
for
toast.
sharing.
Number 2, we have Brian from Spring Lake Park.
Brian, good morning.
Morning.
Are you ready to beat the toaster?
I am.
I like that confidence, sir. Good luck to you.
Hey, Beatles and Vikings.
Oh, I didn't even think to ask. How silly am I? Thanks for reminding me. Beatles and Vikings. That's a heady combination. Let's go, Tony.
All right, Big Bri, you say Packers, you think meat Packers. So you go to a steakhouse or butcher shop, name some cuts of meat. Go.
Brisket, top sirloin, flank, ribeye, T-bone, chuck. How about hamburger?
All right.
All right. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7.
I got 7.
Wow, man. Pat and Brian came to play today. Very, very strong effort, gentlemen. This is as hot and heavy as a round 1 as we've had in a while.
Yeah. Good, solid numbers.
Good.
Neck and neck.
It's all about the round 2, of course. That's where we separate the wheat from the chaff. So let's go back to Pat for round 2. Are you ready, Pat?
Pat?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
Right on. All right, Pat, going to change directions here a little bit. Name some things you might donate to charity. Go.
What? I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
All right, you got your turn your radio down? All right, Pat. Name some things you might donate to charity, and go.
Clothes, money, shoes, toiletries, maybe one of your siblings.
Hey. All right.
That's human trafficking. I'm not sure that's legal.
Is there one in particular you want to donate, Pat? Clothes, money, shoes, toiletries.
Yeah,
I don't think we can accept siblings as a possible answer.
Just down at the Goodwill the other day buying some used shampoo.
Yeah. Yeah, just half a bottle. That's all you need.
Someone's old toothbrush. I put it through the dishwasher first.
Yeah, it could be like a donation so that, I'm going to give it to him. I'm not going to nitpick too bad.
No, not at all.
All right, that's we're going to give you 4 for that round, Pat, which is a total of 12. A solid number at any time with Beat the Toaster. Well played, sir. Now we're going back to Brian for his round 2. Brian, you still with us?
Oh, yeah.
All right, brother. Here we go.
All right, Brian, you seem like a Viking fan. Past or present, go ahead and name some Vikings running backs. Go.
Oh, boy. Chuck Foreman. Oh, boy. Mark Rashad. I'm not getting good at this.
Been a while since you watched the game, Bri.
Man.
You know what? I wanted to watch yesterday, but that wasn't happening. I'm up here in Wisconsin here, and they decided not to put it on the
Oh.
Obama box.
The Obama box.
I don't know what that even means.
I'll tell you what. Ahmad Rashad was split out wide. He was
Yeah,
a
and
wide
I
receiver.
can't take
so
that.
he
But he
got
did
one.
name the best Viking running back of all time, Chuck Foreman.
There you
He
go.
did.
That's arguable.
In my opinion.
Yeah, right.
Adrian Peterson had a
Robert
minute.
Smith.
Robert Smith had a hot minute.
How about Aaron
Sure.
Jones?
Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
He's 4
yeah,
games in.
Sure.
How about the old? You can count a fullback in there, can't you?
Oh, hell, running back, yeah.
Oh, Bill Brown. Boom, boom.
Oh, Bill Brown. That was
Dave
a classic.
Osborne.
I grew up watching
Old
Bill Brown.
Leroy Horde.
Leroy Horde, yeah.
The purple
sure.
and gold. Who can forget? Well, Brian, solid effort, my man, but I'm sorry to say you're going to come up a little short of Pat, who with a dozen is the winner. Pat, you've got a couple tickets. We will let you know momentarily what those tickets are for. Sit tight, right?
Okay,
to get all your details. Well played, sir. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
You got it.
Well, I think this might be a little disappointing. We just found out, were they tickets to see Chris Christopherson?
Oh,
Darn the timing.
Oh,
God dang it.
jeez. What a guy. Christopherson.
We tried to
did
get
it
him
all.
over to the Janis Joplin deal. So Janis Joplin, they happy birthday to Janis.
sure.
Jim Mickelson's thing over there. Michelson. I always say Michelson. Over there at First Avenue. It had moved over to First Avenue. He's playing across the street at the Orpheum over there. And we're like, you got to come over and do the... And there was some thought, a hot rumor backstage for just a moment that he might pop over, but it didn't happen. It would have been like 5 or 6 years ago, but that would have been a cool deal. I never saw him perform.
I never saw him either. I know a lot of folks who worked with Chris Christopherson over the years, knew him at various levels. And I 88 years old, in case you were just now wondering why we're discussing. Chris Christopherson died over the weekend at his home in Hawaii. And no one more respected in both Nashville and Hollywood, for that matter, because the guy's film career was fantastic. The movie Lone Star, the John Sayles film Lone Star, where he plays the really crooked sheriff, boy, is that a great film. And but he was really good. He was good in silly
Convoy,
movies.
baby.
Convoy. He's fantastic
I
in
freaking love Convoy. Convoy's great.
Hell yeah, it is.
It's not.
Yes, it is. Him with no shirt. How do you go wrong?
Culturally, it was great. Yeah, he had no shirt on. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, Mom was a big Chris Christopherson fan. Back to a Star is Born and then some. Yeah, but I'm sure Convoy. Mom would even sit in on that one.
The stories of the man more than the artist are forever. I mean, eternally respected in all corners of the globe. Chris Christopherson, a great, great, great Renaissance man, to be sure, dead at the age of 88. I'm thinking about. I know several people that wrote with him, worked with him pretty closely. It's a sad day for a lot of good folks. The Scorpions are returning to Las Vegas with their Coming Home to Las Vegas, 60 years of the Scorpions residency. That opens February 27th at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. You can score a trip for two with Round Trip Air, a 2-night stay, tickets to opening night, and more. Text the national keyword ANGEL to 95819 right now for a chance to win. ANGEL for a chance to win. We talked to Klaus Meine last week on this show.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was fun.
I love the residencies there, and we're not talking about the Sphere even, just the Aerosmith. My daughter, she had not seen Aerosmith, was living in Las Vegas. The nice thing about the residencies, even more so than going to, say, one of our casino shows, is they're there for a while. So the stage show that they can put on, is a big deal. It's not being trucked around. I mean, they can really go all out. And I saw Aerosmith, or have seen Aerosmith, I'll just say 10 times. Probably would be fairly accurate. Really fun show to see them late in their career in Las Vegas. So I'm sure the Scorps will really bring it.
They certainly will. Speaking of the Sphere, I did see over the weekend the Grateful Dead last year, Dead and Company, I should say, did a 30-date residency that wrapped up just last month in August. $131 million.
So they're making money.
Is what they took in for 30 nights. Yeah.
That'll keep them in tie-dyes for a while.
That's going to keep them well-versed in tie-dyes. Make no mistake about it. What's the weirdest place you ever woke up? First time I was ever in Minneapolis, I found myself awake in the morning, hungover, confused, bewildered, drooling, and in the hallway of my hotel. Not in my room, passed out right in the hallway.
You had no idea, even all those years ago, you were one of us.
I just from the moment I got here, I was like, eventually, I'm going to call this place home.
Absolutely.
I thought about that. We're talking about weird places we've woken up, unexpected places we have awakened, and yeah, first time ever in Minneapolis. That was my situation. Traveled over the weekend to my daughter's college for family weekend, and we were leaving yesterday. Had some friends down in Virginia, and they were like, "Hey, you're heading home now?" And I said, "Yep, sure am." And I had a thought. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going home." Like, I've been here a little over a year and a half, and when I got we landed at MSP, and I was like,
"Yeah,
that's home."
Yep.
I mean, I felt completely I feel like I've been here 10 years.
Been here for a while, man.
It's kind of nice to be. It's nice to be in Minnesota, and the fact that I kicked it off with such elan, with such joie de vivre, and such panache the first time ever.
Passing out in one of our fine hotel hallways.
Just nothing better in the spring of 1990 than waking up with a mouthful of spit and sick and just going, "Oh, that was a fun night, I'm sure." But I got nothing on Karen in Anoka, who texted 651-989-ROCK if you want to share the weirdest place you ever woke up. This is what she texted in: freezing, hugging a fire ring at an outdoor bash.
Oh, man.
Luckily, the fire was almost out.
Gee whiz, yeah, no kidding.
Hey, well, you never know where you're going to go for the heat.
Here, Allie's got one here for you. She writes, "At work, while in a one-on-one meeting with my boss."
That's great.
Not saying this meeting's a little dull. Well, power napping to improve productivity. That's what she was doing.
Sure.
I have 100% been asleep at just about every job I've ever had, now that I think about it. Including this one. I've fallen asleep during a commercial break on this show before.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you've given me the whole, yo. I'm like, hey, what's up?
I'm like, look at him, intense in thought over there. Boy, he really knows how to... psych himself up.
Those first few months of morning radio were a challenge. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh, man, the meetings we would have. We would have a meeting in the program director's office, and we go over there, and it was just nappy time. You didn't even try and pretend. You'd throw your feet all the way out, way back in the seat. And
if I sit in a room and there's someone at a desk and I'm sitting opposite him or her, no matter what the conversation is about, it's just, I might as well be in physics class.
Yeah.
It's geometry all over again. And it's like, I don't care how much sleep I've had. I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
This is just not. I was not the academic that I act like on TV, as they say. 651-989-ROCK. If you've got any place you think back, the weirdest place you've ever woken up. Tony, I believe we have a caller.
Marky Mark on line 1.
Mark, good morning.
Good morning.
Mark, give me your favorite band.
Good. Well, I would have to go with Bruce Springsteen.
That'll work.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite team, any sport?
A lot of Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings. 4-0, leading the NFC North. You're damn straight. All right, Mark, what do you got for us?
Well, we were on a snowmobile trip in Du Bois, Wyoming, and we were staying in a cabin not far from the Crooked Creek Bar and Grill.
Okay.
Which was our favorite spot to stop there. So, and anyway, I guess I had too many of my 250 favorites at night. So, and get back to the cabin and found myself in the sauna with the rest of the group there, or some of the group there.
Uh-oh.
And evidently, I got too hot, so I stripped naked and got out and walked up to the loft where our beds were, and woke up the next day with the sheet over me next to the railing and between the bed and the railing on the floor.
Oh, yeah, I've done that. Slipped down there between the wall and the bed, and woke up a little hungover. Yeah, I thought I was just being hugged. I thought I was.
Yeah.
No, not so
much.
much.
I don't know why I didn't lay on the bed, but if I fell off or whatever, but my wife's cousin, she was with, and she had her husband go up and throw a sheet on me, so because everybody was sleeping up in the loft, and they didn't want to walk by this 300-pound white mammoth.
But I believe that would be a Yeti. We could call that.
Yeah.
Quite
Wyoming Yeti.
Yeah, that'll work. Mark, thanks for the call, brother.
I woke up out at the chili feed one year in a Packer sleeping bag covered. Someone just laid a Packer sleeping bag on me. I took a little nap there in the grass for the night. Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Oh, we're getting some of these, and now I remember this. I bet we've all super drunk, fallen asleep at one point during sex. Yeah, I have.
Sure.
And then you kind of come to.
Of course.
A little bit like, oh, yeah, no, just taking a break. Just trying to find the right spot or whatever.
When you say, and then you come to, is it T-O or T-O-O? Because that's two very different sentences. So,
that was impressive.
I'm a hopeless semantic. Tony, we have another caller.
Buddy Kevin from Blaine.
Kevin, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, we're great, brother. You sound like you're wide awake. What have you got for us, Kevin?
Oh, yeah, very wide awake. Well, my favorite team, of course, is the Vikings.
Attaboy.
And then we got my favorite band, of course, Led Zeppelin.
Man, that's a solid mix. That's Vikings in both regards. I like that. So what do you got for us?
Well, grew up in Spring Park, and my dad still lived there. And it's weird. I was, already 30 years old, but we always ate at December's on the corner and across the street with Northtown and Cub Foods. Well, I wasn't going to drive. I left pretty out there. And, I started walking, and I just said, God, I'm going to sit down for a little bit right at the Cub there. Heck, I fell asleep, woke up, people walking around, sun shining, walking around me, and I went, oh, my God. So, yeah, that was quite a eye-opening experience.
Do you have like a couple extra dollar bills, maybe some change laying in your lap where they tip in the old homeless?
Yeah, I wasn't homeless.
I'm just saying,
had my
if you're
own
sleeping
place,
on-
but yeah, I don't know. It was just a weird deal with when it's that sunny out and people not even waking you up and just leaving you alone.
Sure.
That's Minnesota nice.
That is Minnesota nice. Thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate
Hey,
it.
Steve, I just want to say you're doing a great job on there. I did like Tom Bernard. But I got to tell you guys, with your new show format and everything, kind of like you guys do, it's really cool to listen. You guys still in the morning.
Cheers. Thank you very much for that. We greatly appreciate that, my man. 651-989-ROCK is the talking text line. Here's a text. I woke up at a stoplight in the early morning hours behind the wheel of my squad car.
Oh.
Back in the day when I was working the midnight shift as a metro area cop, I don't know how many green lights had cycled. He signed it anonymous for obvious reasons. Hey, man, we're all just people. We're all just doing the best we can. And so far, this is a great text from Lolly. Here's my favorite of the day. Bridesmaid of mine passed out in the front yard by the road in her bridesmaid dress.
Yes.
Sunday morning churchgoers seen her.
The ultimate walk of shame.
And this is the best. She hasn't touched orange juice since 1983.
That damn orange
juice. It wasn't the orange juice.
Lolly. Get your adverbs there, I believe.
Man, lolly, get you. That's right. That sounds familiar.
Took a date to the Who show over at the Excel some years ago. The Who, known for their high decibel concerts, one of the loudest bands in the world. She fell asleep right there in the middle of the concert. At one point, I'm just standing up rocking. I look down, and she's just is snoozing away at a Who show.
Wow. It takes all kinds.
Right.
I fell asleep at a Bruce Springsteen concert.
Yeah, they're long.
In 1984. I mean, like December 84, Born in the USA is just everywhere. And I drove it was a long drive in a big rainstorm with my girlfriend and some of her friends. They were all Springsteen fanatics, and I was just, okay, I'll check it out. And we had tickets. It was actually behind the stage, like you're looking right down over the top of the back of everybody.
How you doing in the back seat?
And then they would turn around and do a few songs towards you. But they were great seats if you didn't mind seeing the backs of people. Second row. And they pulled out the old acoustic guitars for about a 4-song acoustic set, snoring. That's the problem. It wasn't so much that I was asleep, but that I was snoring. Sober as a judge, not a drop of alcohol in me. I was like, sorry, man, that was a long drive, and this is the boss, and it's acoustic, and I'm just going to...
Did you wake up going, hey, turn that down? Oh.
Pretty much. Yeah, just a giant arena. Just tens of thousands of people there. This on the KQ Talking text line, strangest place I I ever woke in an alley in Okinawa with my jacket under my head and my boots next to me.
Oh.
Pass out drunk in Japan, they'll take care of you.
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
Very orderly.
Yeah,
nice touch.
Terribly orderly.
Shine your boots as well.
By the way, wow, I'm just seeing a text. The gentleman who texted that, over a year ago, he texted. He said, Steve, after your show with the Dead, the Black Crowes played with the Grateful Dead in 1995. He goes, in Tampa, I had to set up a bar and bartend on the patio of the penthouse at the Don Caesar Resort for the Dead. Did you happen to be there also? And the answer is, yes, I was.
Really?
Yeah, I like the name of it, the Don Caesar Resort for the Dead.
Yeah, and big all-nighter going on, and there may have been an ingestion of what they call mushrooms.
Perhaps.
Yeah, so sorry to say I don't remember that bar exactly, but I was there. Boy, here's another one. 651-989 Rock talking text line from Scott. Acid, beer, a walk home from the bar, a pause to sit down and smoke a cigarette, the tapping of an officer's nightstick on my foot, passed out in someone's yard hours later, cigarette stub still between my fingers. He asked if I knew where I was, and I said, Sheboygan, man?
Worth a shot.
Always go for Sheboygan if you're not sure.
I love that video you wrote in. Tower of Terror in Disney World. Woke up when they strapped me in.
What?
Or fell asleep when they strapped me in. Woke up while I was dropping. Not fun.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, well, long day at Disney World. Gets a little hot.
So.
Dozed off. Then they drop you.
And speaking of falling asleep at concerts, Jeff texted in, fell asleep at a Grateful Dead concert. Surprised? No.
Nope.
Yeah, that's how that works. Carl on the Take KQ Talking text line. Fell asleep in class. Teacher let all the kids out of class. The next class came in. I woke up, turned around to look at the clock, and didn't recognize both of the people in my class. Everybody laughed. I got up.
Oh,
that's good.
Yeah, I just remembered a really awkward time I fell asleep. Sitting in that chair you're sitting in right there in Studio D, Tony.
Yeah.
I woke up and the morning show had been over for 20 minutes. And
Is that true?
The door opened. I'd been out a little late the night before, and I put my feet up on the counter, just hit a few sound effects or whatever during the commercial break. And I woke up and I look up at the clock, and it's 20 minutes after the show is over.
Attaboy.
And it's like, someone would like to see you in their office. Double secret probation on that one.
Man.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Brian Zepp, 0.0.
Hey, man, I was going through a divorce. A lot of issues.
Double secret probation. All right, well, we've all done our duty. We've all served the greater good of waking up in really bizarre places. You can still hit us up on the text line 651-989-ROCK, but we are going to move forward with the top 5 at 9. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Monday morning, September 30th. Where's the weirdest place you ever woke up? Matt from New Richmond texted 651-989-ROCK, the KQ Talk text line. I woke up at a hospital. I was visiting a friend who was there when I got off work. I must have sleptwalked because one second I was in her room and then I was getting awakened by a nurse saying, you can't sleep in these beds. I was in a random empty room. No idea how I got there. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. You picked the right place to do that. I mean, at least there's plenty of beds. Here's one. I fell asleep in the cooler behind a pile of grapes while working at County Market. Sure.
All the grapes.
Yeah, the old that was a whole lot of my Army career was looking for a place to sleep.
Sure it was.
You'd always find these nooks and crannies.
On a hot day, those walk-ins feel nice.
I bet.
They do.
Kidding.
Yeah, they do. For about 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And then if you're asleep, you're in trouble. Here's one. Lance texted in. Stopped at a friend's house as a teenager one summer day. Started doing tequila poppers and the worm.
Well, yeah, as you do on a hot summer day with a friend when you're a teenager, Lance.
I had to use the, I'll say, toilet on the walk home at an Arby's in St. Paul. I woke up about an hour later, still on the toilet, my pants at my ankles.
Oh, then you can't wipe that out. That's dried now.
Yeah,
That's on there. You're going to need a hose.
Fat, drunk, and sitting on the toilet at Arby's is no way to go through life. young man. Well, I don't know if Lance is. I'm just saying, you know, man, you're going to remember that one for sure. A lot of the concerts. It's funny. Here's another one on the text line. LOL. First concert I fell asleep at was Grateful Dead 2. A few mushrooms, a lot of joints, and the drum solo put me to sleep.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That drum solo used to put me out, and I'm a drummer, and I like drums.
I get on bongos for a while.
They would go and go and go and go. At least that's what it felt like. The shrooms will, you know, that's the thing about those Dead shows. It's like, it's a long enough show if you're sober. Man, you shroom up for that bad boy, and you're there for it's like a whole week.
I get it. I remember one of the first couple of shows I went to, I thought it was one song.
Yeah.
One long song. I'm like, it sounds like it's changing a little.
My first Dead show was in 93, and I heard myself say this a few times. They're still playing the same song. Like, it's still Scarlet Begonias. This song's taking forever. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. I believe we have Randy on line 1. Randy, good morning.
Good morning.
What do you got for us, brother?
Well, first of all, Hart and the Vikings.
Hart and the Vikings, a solid, heady combination.
Well, I'm a weird kind of guy. 1971, I was in the Navy on aircraft carrier USS Ticonderoga. I was an aviation electronics technician. Anyways, we pulled into Subic Bay, Philippines. And went into town. The town is called Longpo City. Mm-hmm. And that's a story all by itself. But anyways, the next morning I woke up and I was in the radome of one of our airplanes. In order to get there, you get on the carrier and up on the flight deck, get into the plane and open up a hatch on top of the plane. And there's 2 feet in between the radome and the fuselage. And then you got to open up the hatch to get into the dang radome.
Yeah.
And I woke up inside that dang radome.
You know what I love about this? If you just try and take a piss when you're good and whipped up, you know, it can be a little hard to get to the urinal.
Yeah.
But somehow, you got drunk enough to get up into the what you just described. Yeah. There's that, you know, sloppy drunk, and then there's that sort of savant drunk. You don't know how you do things.
That's a testament to the training.
Yes.
I think is what that is.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, appreciate that. Well done, Randy.
You're entirely welcome.
Yeah, you got it. Who else we got? I think we got Glenn on line 2. Right. Glenn, good morning.
Good morning, KQ. How we doing?
We're great, brother. Why don't you share with us what you got?
What's that?
Tell us what you got, brother.
So, back in my younger days, much younger days, when we were doing some illicit drugs, per se, we were out walking about my hometown back in Pennsylvania, and we decided to climb a store, got halfway up and couldn't make it, so we ended up coming back down, and we climbed up on top of a railroad track crossing. Sign sat up there. We were drinking beer, smoking some green stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And apparently we fell asleep up there because we got woke up by the train and the dinging alarms and all that other crap. And it's like, well, being this young little filly per se, well, we're up here. Might as well have a little fun while we're up here, if you know what I mean.
No, I hear you.
Sure. I mean,
and everyone goes to dynamite.
We did. We're at the sunrise. We had a little soiree.
Sure you did.
And then we climbed back down with a smile on both of our faces.
You climbed up and you climbed down. That's a heck of a night right there, per se.
Yeah, I climbed up, got it up. Got back down and then climbed down. You know what I mean?
We do know what you mean, Glenn. We're
following it well.
Train made it to the tunnel.
I'd say we're reading between the lines, but there's no lines here. We're just wide open right there on the tracks. Thank you, brother.
You can read between the lines. I was trying to keep it polite and decent for the folks on radio.
Sure.
We appreciate that.
Or whatever they are, you know what I mean?
No, we appreciate your professionalism. We need some more of that around here ourselves. Thanks, Glenn. That's a great call.
I'm a professional driver, so I try to keep it professional.
Attaboy. Thank you, Glenn. We appreciate you. All right, we got time for one more. Is Kenny still with us on line 3? Kenny, good morning.
Good morning.
Kenny, what do you got for us?
Well, 2 years ago, I bought, not my first motorcycle, but I bought a brand new Harley and decide I'm retired. So I thought, I'm just going to take off. And I start driving all over the Midwest. And a couple days in or whatever, I'm all dehydrated. I don't know that, but all of a sudden I'm walking down the highway and 4 squad cars pull over and stop. They go, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, my buddy just lives right up here on Highway 61, about a couple more miles." And the cops look at each other and they say, Highway 61 is 500 miles west from here. I did not know where I was. They took me just to get in the car and put my hands out for a cuff. They go, no, that's not necessary. And they took me to a hospital. I spent a day and a half in there. I was so dehydrated. And when I went to get out, they weren't going to let me out yet, but I called my pastor, and he called back and said, "Hey, whatever." He goes, "I'll take care of this." They let me out. They had a cab ready there for me to take me to my motorcycle, which was impounded, and I drove home. It was a weird experience.
That sounds like it.
I need
That's the end of the story.
Are you still in good with your pastor? Does your pastor still have your back?
What's that?
Does your pastor still have your back? I mean, could you call your pastor today if you got into some trouble?
Oh, yeah. I talked to him, but I thanked him because he was the one that said they weren't going to let me go, and he called them up and explained how they really couldn't hold me. I wasn't drinking. I was just dehydrated.
Maybe I
and they
need a
just let me
pastor
go. They got me a cab and everything.
All right.
So,
I like it. Kenny? Yes, he can.
Yeah, right on. Well, thank you for the call, sir. We appreciate that. It is just after the hour, so that means it's time for the top 5 at 9. Here are the 5 things we think you need to know to get your week off on the right foot. Number 5 at 9. No, let's talk about 4, as in 4-0. The undefeated Minnesota Vikings just stomped the living snot out of the Green Bay Packers for the most of the game yesterday, certainly in the first half. A 28-0 lead. And while the Packers did come back and make it interesting, this was definitely the Vikings' day. Sam Darnold with a fine day. 3 touchdown passes. Jordan Addison got 2 of those. Yeah. Good to see him back in the end zone. They hung on late. Sam was given the ball on a late drive until Kevin O'Connell didn't get too conservative. I mean, he kept throwing the ball, showing a lot of confidence in Sam Darnold. And again, that 4-0 lead, that is really, really strong. This team is going to London now to face Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, who lost at home to the Denver Broncos yesterday.
He looked old, didn't he, at the end of the game?
I tell you what,
over his head, he looked all 40 and then some.
A week ago, it was, he's back. And now yesterday it was like, is he? And now he's going to go to London, where I doubt we're going to see the best of Aaron Rodgers. Let's hope not anyway.
The Jets have a hell of a defense, so they've got the work cut out for them, but they're going to give Aaron Rodgers a bad time. Coach O'Connell after the game yesterday.
The way that this game started and the avalanche that happened out there in the first half, do not forget what that feeling's like, because it's happened a few times now, right? That is our formula. But then comes our ability to finish football games, like we're going to do at a world-class level.
Yeah, I mean, a win on the road in your division is a win.
Damn straight.
And ask anyone that's won a Super Bowl out there. They wouldn't be a Minnesota Viking, probably. But you're gonna need an ugly win or two to get there. And I'm not suggesting we're on a Super Bowl run here, but hey, a W in Green Bay, hell yeah, no matter how you can get it.
Take a win at Lambeau anytime, any way, any shape or form. No question about it. Number 4 in your top 5 at 9. Saturday Night Live kicked off Saturday night. Season number 50. And Jim Gaffigan, stand-up comedian, not known as much of an actor, did portray, and apparently will for the next few months, if not the next few years, Minnesota Governor and VP candidate Tim Walz. Jim Gaffigan had it down. He did a good job. I mean, as much as anybody else on that show doing an imitation and impersonation, it was pretty good.
I think there are a lot of people in Minnesota that may have watched Saturday Night Live and thought, wait a minute, I thought that's the guy I was voting for. Who's Walz?
Yeah.
I thought I was voting for the comedian. Yeah, that one kind of fell into his lap right there. Not a bad one.
No. So, well, and much as Maya Rudolph is back playing Kamala Harris, there's certain people you're just like, I know exactly who's going to play this part. I will mention, I did flip through most of the show. It was recorded. I wanted to see it. And like every episode of Saturday Night Live ever, some of it was funny. A lot of it wasn't. And you finish and go, okay.
Yeah.
Everybody who goes, man, that show used to be so much better. No, it wasn't. It's always been hit or miss.
Well, I think shows like ours raise the bar.
See?
And it's difficult for shows like Saturday Night Live to, maintain that. When you wake up with the KQ Morning Show, how can you go to bed with SNL?
Yeah.
I get it, yeah. All right, makes sense.
All just a setup to stroke ourselves.
Well, who else is going to?
Number 3 on your top 5 at 6, Karl Anthony Towns. Thanks for the memories. Goodbye. Head to the Great White Way, Broadway. He's going to be a New York Knick. How will Karl Anthony Towns handle the pressure that comes from being the center of the New York Knicks? It's going to be interesting because he is a lot of things, both positive and a little questionable or negative. I don't know that he's going to be able to handle the heat of beat reporters literally grilling him every single day of the season. It's a whole different animal to play for the Knicks than it is to play for the Timberwolves.
I don't, except for last season when they made their deep playoff run, I don't think he really got a lot of attention because he was in Minnesota playing for the Timberwolves, who sort of slid under the radar. I don't know, 8 or 9 seasons here. I know he was a number 1 draft pick and had a career going here. I don't think he was asking for a trade.
Not at all.
I don't think he was expecting a trade.
He was very happy to be right here. But his success was his downfall. He is now beginning a 4-year, $224 million contract extension in Minnesota. Tim Connolly, the team president, came in right after they gave Cat all that money moving forward, and he was like, I got a feeling he was like, wait, we're giving Karl Anthony Towns how much money?
Yeah.
It's freeing up. So Naz Reid, a big winner. Also, by the way, if nothing else, the Wolves have an incredible bench right now, arguably the best in the league. When you've got Naz, DiVincenzo, who comes over from the Knicks, Alexander Walker. That's a great 6, 7, and 8 player in the rotation. I'm bullish on the T-Wolves. Call me crazy. Number 2 and your top 5 at 9 tonight at the XL Energy Center. Jeff Lynne's Electric Light Orchestra. This is it. This is a farewell tour, and it's not one of those where, is it really? Oh, no, it really is.
Yeah.
You won't see them again. Never seen this band, and I will be there tonight. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those bands that when you start thinking about it, we were just talking about recently, and you realized, they've got, a dozen big hits. Well, that's yellow.
That's going to happen tonight. I have not. I've made a point not to look at the set list to see what. I imagine it's pretty much the same show every night. They don't sound like the kind of band that's going to go improvise too much, and I don't want to see what they're playing. I want to be surprised. I'm looking very forward to it.
Don't show up to work all cranky tomorrow.
Oh, that's a given. Oh, I will, because the encore is going to be like they're going to save it all for the end.
Sweet talking Steve in the morning.
I might have to just come in right from the gig and sleep here. Save myself a little time in the morning.
Dare ya.
Want to give a quick morning shout out to our friends in Stacy, Minnesota.
Right up the road. That's what I know about Stacy. I know you pass it right there off 35W on your way to somewhere.
You get to Wyoming, and then shortly thereafter, you get to Stacy. I know enough to know that.
There it is.
Damn straight. Good morning. Happy to have our listeners in Stacy with us right now.
Heck yeah.
Number 1 on your top 5 at 9. In case you have missed the last 6 weeks, the Minnesota Twins are bad at baseball, and thankfully they are done for the season. They will not be a playoff team. Now, on August 17th, about 6 weeks ago, they had a 92.4% chance of making the playoffs. They have completely unraveled since then. And in fact, over their last 10 games, when they still 500 ball in their final 10 would have put them in the playoffs, they went 2-8.
No pointing any fingers. I mean, you can point the fingers at the entire team. Take the team photo from this year and just point your finger at it. The bullpen didn't get it done. The starting pitching didn't get it done.
Nope.
It didn't get to the reliever. But I mean, and then the batting was sporadic. There were some moments, but it's one of these teams that we get. Now, the Wild have had this crazy Suter-Parisi cap for the last few seasons. I think they're in the last year of it. They haven't been able to load up. They've done pretty good with what they've got, but it's one of these Minnesota things, the pole ads with the Twins. They have us build our own new stadium.
Yeah.
Right? And then, so we build our own little Valley Fair over there. My buddy Nate called it over the weekend. It's just an attraction. You go out there to watch some Major League Baseball, but we're not watching to see the Twins make a deep playoff run anymore. Yeah, I know they've won the division and made the playoffs before, but this isn't a team that's loaded to go beat the Yankees, to go beat the O's, or to hell even dominate our division. So let's screw the poll ads one more time.
You're not alone in that assessment. A fan yesterday was removed from Target Field, during Saturday night's game, was removed from Target Field and, in fact, banned for all of next season. He had a sign that said, defund the pole, ... lads. Not the police. Not defund the police. Defund the pole lads.
Here he is at Target Field.
I'm not doing anything wrong. People protest. What am I doing? This is not your property. Take video.
No, stop this.
Shut the up.
No,
Got
man.
a little heated.
Come on, it's a sign, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
it's a sign. It's a sign that the fan base is about to turn on the pole ads yet again. Were they ever with that? Were they ever with the ownership?
Well, when they were winning the World Series, it's a love-hate relationship. They just don't put build us a new stadium and then we'll put the kind of money into the team to make it a contender every year. But I don't know if Minnesota is ever going to be, it's like a Kansas City, it's, if they do well, great. But, you're not going to compete against markets like, back east, the big markets, even some of the Chicago teams, although I don't know what happened to the White Sox, but
record breakers, worst team ever, worst losingest team in the history of baseball, which is very, very impressive.
You know what? I will say this, it's been a fairly entertaining season. September sucked for the Twins, but, they always seem to put an entertaining team out there that is worth watching at Target Field, a damn fine field.
I was just going to say, if nothing else, man, you could do a whole lot worse than Target Field.
That's
It
right.
is great to see. I do enjoy going to games there. Chris Christopherson died yesterday at the age of 88 years old. Christopherson graduated from Pomona College summa cum laude with a degree in English, became a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford University in England, and while in England, cut a few records, was trying to be a performer over there. He called himself Chris Carson. Came back to the U.S. His dad, who was a career Air Force officer, was like, hey, dude, military, let's go. So Chris Christopherson joined the Army, became a captain, helicopter pilot in Vietnam, and then at some point was about to start teaching English at West Point and decided, I think I'm going to move to Nashville instead and try to write songs.
Damn, a hippie.
And his family pretty much cut ties with him. His dad was like, that's not how we do it here.
Can you imagine? How disappointing.
Crushed him. He worked in Nashville for 4 years. He was a janitor at the Columbia Records studio, and he was sweeping the floors when a guy named Bob Dylan made a record called Blonde on Blonde there. That's how Christopherson met Dylan. He was the janitor at the studio. How about that? So,
That's a janitor that I bet got a lot of dates.
I bet he did. Have you seen the janitor at the studio, Bob? Yeah, that really handsome guy with a great voice, speaking voice. He's kind of crazy. It's funny because I've known that story for years, and I have been at many recording studios, and I always look to see like the third engineer or the guy at the front desk, because you always think, where's the next Christopherson? He's not there. He was a unicorn. He was a one-off, Chris Christopherson. And along the way, also turned out to be a pretty darn good actor. My favorite, Lone Star, but man, obviously A Star Is Born at some point. Convoy. I mean, there's so many movies, silly movies, serious movies.
He did Billy the Kid, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid.
Yeah, he sure did.
That's where Knocking on
the
Heaven's Door
sailor
came from.
who fell from grace with the sea and semi-tough Heaven's Gate, the big colossal flop.
That's right.
He was a big star in that. Chris Christopherson is a guy who, in the early 80s, he went to his doctor and said, I just don't feel good. And his doctor said, your liver is the size of a football. And he said, you stop drinking or you're going to die. And he did. And he had a great long second and third act. Chris Christopherson, one of the highwaymen, to say the very least, gone at 88. He will be missed. This was a great American by any estimation that matters to me. Godspeed, Chris Christopherson.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.